Hey folks, welcome back to the Q Shed Backyard Barbecue. Today, as you can see, I'm dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, which means we have some unseasonably warm and beautiful Oregon weather here in mid-May. So I'm going to take advantage of it and cook something outside. Today we are going to hang whole chickens, on my Weber Smoky Mountain 22.5-inch cooker. I've done one other hanging cook on that smoker before. You can find that in my videos list. And that one was primarily ribs though. And if you recall, or as you'll see if you go back and watch that video, I overcooked the ribs to the point where a couple of the racks actually fell from the hanging position down onto a safety grate I had down at the bottom. So there was no harm, no foul. It wasn't a big deal in the end, but I'm going to be mindful of that today as I cook these whole chickens. And I'll show you the prep here in just a minute. But I'm excited about this cook again because I do feel the need to sort of make up for overdoing those ribs last time. So we'll see how it goes today. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we're going to now do the prep on these whole chickens in order to get them ready to hang in our Weber Smoky Mountain. What I'm going to do is, well, first of all, let me back up. I've got whole chickens, got from Costco. They come individually wrapped in 2 packs for 99 cents a pound. So for $20, essentially, you know, I got 4 whole chickens. They're roughly 5-pound birds a piece, so good sized birds. And what I'm going to do to these is I am going to spatchcock them, which means I'm going to take these kitchen shears and I'm going to cut out the backbone, lay them open, and I'll show you that process on the first one. I've also got some olive oil in spray form that I'm going to use as fat on the exterior, on the skin, both to help the kosher salt adhere during the dry brining process and also to possibly help the skin crisp up a little bit during the cooking process, which it should need a lot of help doing because the one other time that I have hung chicken on the Weber Smoky Mountain, that's been the best part, is the crispy skin that results. So we'll take a look at that today and hopefully that ends up being the case again. So without further ado, let's get going here on, so again, these kitchen shears, I don't remember where I got them from. I think either Cabela's or Amazon, but it's a very simple process. You just want to start, I usually start at the back end of the bird and here, and I'm going to cut along both sides of the backbone. So, and by the way, I just pulled these straight out of the packaging and set them on some paper towels to absorb, you know, some of the moisture that leaks out. So we're going to start on each side of the backbone here and just cut all the way up. Okay, so that's all the way through on that side. Simple enough. And the other side. Sometimes, depending on which bone you're trying to go through, I think this is the end of the thigh bone here I'm up against. There we go. All right, that's the other side. So there you go. You could save this for stock, whatnot, which I'm actually going to do. I'm going to make some chicken stock. But we get the backbone out, and you can kind of clean up the inside of the bird somewhat, or you could wait until a little further into the process. Also have my knife here. It's handy to have a sharp knife always. Cut out, you know, bits of extra skin or fat or whatever doesn't look appetizing, because they're obviously going to cook the way you prep them. So, and then what you're going to need to do up here on the breastbone, you're going to need to make just a slight cut to allow them to lay open all the way. Okay, just took a very little cut there, as you can see, and right there at the end of the breastbone, and allowed it to lay open. So now that, when I go to lay them out, they will lay completely flat. Okay, there you go. So that's what spatchcocking is. There's not much to it. Very simple, and results in, I think, more flavor throughout the bird rather than leaving them whole. I've done it both ways. I just prefer to spatchcock them if I can, if I have the space. And by hanging them, I will absolutely have the space to do so. So that's that process. I will do the same to the other bird and be back to show you how we begin the dry brining process. Okay, so you can see we've got the chickens all cleaned up. I've got all 3 of them done. I'm just going to show you on this one how we go about finishing up the process. Actually, let me take a little bit more of this excess skin here. So just kind of want to clean up the edges, and I've taken a paper towel and sort of wiped out, you know, the cavity inside. Didn't rinse it. I don't rinse raw meat in the sink at all. It's for cross-contamination reasons. But anyway, just sort of pat it dry, both sides, as dry as you can get it, to help the skin become as crisp as possible during the cooking process. So that's what we've got. Patted dry as much as possible. I put them on a wire rack to keep them off the bottom as the remaining water is sort of leached out through the dry brining process in the refrigerator. So the way that's going to go is that I'm going to put kosher salt, just straight kosher salt, on both sides of the chicken, and I'm going to put them in the refrigerator just like this, open air, not covered. And the dry brining process occurs because of the salt and the exposure to air. The 2 of those things together will have a really nice effect of pulling moisture out of the bird, which will allow the skin to crisp up more, and you still end up with a very, very juicy, tender bird, in my experience. So that's what we're going to do. Before I do that, as I mentioned before, I'm going to put some olive oil. You could use avocado oil or any oil you'd like, I guess, and it doesn't have to be in spray form, certainly, but I have this on hand and it just makes it easier. So I'm going to go and spray some of this on all exposed sections of the bird, spread it around a little bit, then the kosher salt. So I'm going to get it everywhere I can. Here, get this out of the way. You want to be careful not to overdo it. Just a nice even coat. Everywhere there is skin or meat exposed. Okay. There's that side. Flip the bird over. Let's go ahead and get a little olive oil sprayed on this side. And this is the important side because, of course, this is where the majority of the skin is. We want to get nice and crisp. I don't know about you, but I love eating chicken skin. So there we go. And same process. Some nice crispy wings when we're finished. And okay. There we go. And that's it. This bird is ready to go in just like you see it, into the refrigerator. Of course, you have to clear out your refrigerator enough to make room for these things, but it's worth it, believe me. So this is dry brining a chicken. Nothing else to it, not fancy or intimidating at all. It's something anyone can do, and I highly recommend it. Next time I see you, we'll be back out of the cooker. Okay, so we're out here getting ready to dump the coals, and as you can see, I've got the middle section and top section off of my 22.5-inch Weber Smokey Mountain. I've got the Beast basket made by Greg at the Woodshed Smoke and Barbecue, and in it I have a mixture of a little bit of the Royal Oak lump that I had left, and the rest is Kingsford Professional, which tends to burn a little hotter and faster than the standard Kingsford Blue Bag. So I think that'll complement the lump nicely. For this cook where we're hanging meat, low and slow is not the name of the game. It is going to be more of a hot and fast cook. So I'm going to dump a full chimney of lit coals on top of these now. Try to spread them around fairly evenly all over the bed of unlit coals. Get some fairly even ignition. We'll have a full load of chicken today, and I'm probably going to put a couple of racks of ribs on there too if they'll fit. So we're going to need all the cooking surface that we can get. So now we will get WSM put back together and let her start coming up to temp. Okay, so here are our chickens. They've been dry brining for about 4.5 or 5 hours, which is good. Overnight would be better, and there would be nothing at all wrong with 24 hours if you had the time. I don't today. We're having a dinner party tonight, and that's the way barbecuing goes sometimes. You have to adapt. So anyway, any dry brining is certainly better than none, so we're going to go ahead and get these on the Weber Smoky Mountain 22. And of course, me being me, it is hard for me to do a cook without throwing on some spare ribs. So I have 3 racks of St. Louis spare ribs here that will go on as well, assuming I have room on the cooker. See you in a bit. Okay, so as you can see, the Weber Smoky Mountain is going to town. The top thermometer is showing about 240 right now. I'm sorry, about 265 right now. And I just cracked the vents open a little bit more all around. They're all about 3/4 open now, all 3 bottom vents and the top vent here. So the 4 whole chickens and 3 racks of ribs have only been on for about 15 minutes, but I wanted to just give you a quick look at the arrangement inside the cooker, so I'm going to open it up quickly. So as you can see, we've got the 4 whole chickens back there and 3 racks of St. Louis spare ribs. So I'm liking the way they're looking, and I'm going to go ahead and close it back up so we don't lose too much. And let it come back up to temp, and we'll be back in a bit. You can see quite a bit of smoke rolling off of it here. This is not dirty smoke. I waited about 45 minutes after I dumped the lit charcoal onto the unlit to give it plenty of time to get rid of that heavy, thick, nasty smoke. What you're seeing here is what you see anytime you hang meat. You have the fat dripping directly down within close contact of the hot coals, and it creates this. That's what creates such a unique flavor. We'll talk about that later. But it really is a different flavor from smoking meat traditionally. So anyway, we're going to open up here and take a look. It's been, like I said, about 1 hour and 15 minutes now, and I think they're probably going to need spritzing. So here we go. Wow, beautiful. Look at the color. I hope you can see that on the chicken. Beautiful brown color. Yeah, that's really like that. Go ahead and spritz these. This is a 2-to-1 mixture of apple juice and apple cider vinegar that I'm spritzing with. A little packed in there, a little more than I would like ideally, but got to do what you got to do. As I said, I'm going to keep a close eye on these ribs, especially to make sure they don't get overcooked and fall like they did last time. But yeah, loving that so far. So I'm going to close it back up and let this cook. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours and 20 minutes since we put these 4 whole chickens and 3 racks of ribs on the Weber Smoky Mountain. And they've been hanging the whole time right at 300 degrees. I mean, right now it's still maybe 315 or 20. But it's been right within 5 or 10 degrees of that the entire time. So really happy with the way the WSM is holding temp. So we're going to open it up, and I want to temp the chicken breasts and see where they are, and spritz everything again and see how close we are to being finished. Alright, we're going to take a quick look at these chickens, but they are done. I cheated just a minute ago and looked and temped them, and they are right at 175, so they are finished. I'm going to open this up and give you a look, but there's a lot of smoke. Pull it to clear. See the color there, though. Just beautiful. Alright, so I'm going to pull them off, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I just pulled the 4 chickens from the Weber Smoky Mountain, and they look absolutely gorgeous. Nice and dark mahogany color, crispy skin. I'm going to let them rest here for a while, probably about an hour or so. Cover them with foil, put them in a cooler, let them rest until it's time to eat. But I'll check back then when it's time to do a taste test. Okay, well, it's the moment of truth. The 4 whole chickens turned out great. Really, really happy with them. Again, backing up, I dry-brined them for about 4.5 hours and hung them on the Weber Smoky Mountain for a total of about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And we get a nice crisp skin, great color as you can see. So this one, I am going to, this thigh is begging to come off anyway, so I'm going to help it. Okay. Oops, well, that's a good sign. The drumstick pulled right apart. Cut off a piece of the thigh meat. The drumstick. Looks great, great color there. Nice and juicy, plenty of juice at the bottom of the plate. I'm going to go ahead and have a bite of this. White thigh meat is my favorite part of the chicken. Sorry to talk with my mouth full. Really good. Again, the flavor that you get from hanging with that fat dripping down into the coals constantly creates a lot of smoke, but it's not nasty smoke. It's hard to describe until you try it. It really is a unique, very, very good flavor. I'm going to take it. That drumstick. Oh, really good. Really, really good. Super moist. No dryness at all. Coming right apart. Yeah. This is really good. This is my favorite way to cook chicken. My new favorite way to cook chicken. I like it even better than traditional smoked chicken. Sorry, I have to have this one more bite. Really just outstanding. I'm not the world's biggest chicken fan, but this has converted me. So give it a try sometime. Thanks for joining us in the Q Shed Backyard Barbecue tonight. Take care. See you next time.